Yo dudes! Welcome to, that was very loud, sorry, I do apologise. Welcome to tofu, kale and chickpea curry. This takes 5 minutes to make, however I'm going to just take my time and talk through it fully so you really get it. If this is your first Veganuary meal, welcome aboard. We got loads of recipes, this is easy. Take your time, it's for a month, you're going to do amazing. Okay, first step, tofu. Tofu, many people dislike it, don't know what to do with it. This is known as firm tofu. There are two main types of tofu available, firm tofu or silken tofu. Silken tofu is much more runny. A friend is from Japan and she will sometimes just literally have a spoon and just scoop it out for lunch. Often it's used for desserts, it's used kind of for egg replacement, is what we'll typically use it for. However, today we're going to use firm tofu. So if you do want your tofu to brown more and to make it easier to more caramelize, you can press it to draw moisture out of it. But I tend to be lazy, we can caramelize it anyway. So, right, we've got a wide bottom non-stick pan. I'm putting it on high heat. I'm gonna put a nice tablespoon of oil in there. It'll just enable it to brown a little bit easier. And while that's happening, I'm just gonna chop my tofu. I'm gonna chop it. Tofu is a wonderful carrier for flavor, but in itself, it can be a little bit bland or a little bit insipid. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chop it into kind of nice, smaller size blocks, and we're gonna chop them into cubes. So if you do wanna give it every chance to really brown, I would press it and draw moisture out. However, you can just give it longer in the pan and it saves you having to have running water all over your kitchen counter. While that's getting hot, I'm gonna just prep my ginger. I've half a thumb. Notice my excellent pronunciation of the TH. In Ireland, we struggle with it. Anyway, I'm gonna slice this into just into fine dice, really. Okay, when I add my tofu into the pan, there is gonna be a bit of a sizzle, and that's because the moisture is reacting with the oil, so don't worry, in it goes. So I want to spread it out so it's got room. So when I'm frying, the heat is coming from the bottom. So I want to make sure each piece of tofu is in direct contact with the base of the pan. Okay, while our tofu is starting to brown, I've got one bunch of scallions, also known as spring onions. Just remove the end pieces where they're touching where they were growing. And just chop them at a bit of an angle. These are going to function as our base flavors, typically in a kind of Asian style stock. Typically it was onion, garlic, ginger and chili. We're just gonna go with scallion, spring onion and ginger. Okay, now let's give our tofu a turn. We wanna make sure it's given every chance to brown nicely. Okay, so we're getting a nice little kind of light color on it. Just give it a little bit of a... While our tofu is browning, I'm gonna prep our kale. This is known as cavolo nero, or else it's called black Russian kale. So I'm gonna just take it off the stalk. The stalk can be quite hard and just a little bit too hard. So just rip it off the stalk and just rip it up into kind of finer pieces. Now that our tofu has browned on the outside, it has a little bit of a skin on it. It's seared, it's gonna be carrying a lot more flavor. Time to bring in umami. I think any type of soy sauce, tamari, is a wonderful medium with which to kind of infuse the tofu with. So I'm going in with 2 tablespoons of tamari. If you don't have tamari, use soy sauce. So you see the way this is starting to stick to the pan here? In the case of this, what I'm gonna do, so when you're cooking, you kind of want to be adaptable. So you'll see it's starting to brown and burn. I'm gonna pop in a little bit of water, and that's gonna help deglaze the pan. That's just gonna help get those flavors moving a little bit more. So you see my pan now, it's nice and clean. Tofu looks great, still looks crispy, it doesn't look wet. Okay, into the pan now, I've got my ginger. So that was the ginger we prepped, and in go our spring onions. I'm gonna pop in a little pinch of salt, just to help break down. I'm just gonna put a little squeeze of oil, just the pan's looking a little dry. Tofu is lovely. Again, if it is starting to catch at any point, just add a tiny little bit of water and just incorporate that bit of flavor in. That's a technique known as deglazing your pan. Okay, once our ginger and our scallions or spring onion have started to kind of release their flavors, time to add in our kale. Just rip up the kale as you're going so it's nice and more accessible. In it goes to the pan. Again, I'm gonna add a pinch of salt just to help that wilt down and break down. And just mix it through, because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to allow the kale to wilt down in the heat. And again, if it does start to stick, we're gonna add a little bit of water. This will enable more steaming. Okay, time to bring this dish together. I've 1 tin of chickpeas. This is a 400 gram tin. Just drain and rinse it to reduce the flatulence power. In that goes. I've got 2 tablespoons of curry powder. If you don't have curry powder, you could use just cumin, you could use turmeric, you could use coriander, ground coriander that is ground cumin. Okay, to bring this dish together, I've got 1 400 gram tin of chopped tomatoes. In it goes. And then finally, I've got 1 tin of full fat coconut milk. Don't worry if the fat's there like that, that's just gonna kind of break down in the heat. Okay, final and possibly the most important thing with your dish is to taste and season to your liking. So take a spoon, engage your tongue, and taste it and go. First thing you're gonna taste is, does it taste salty enough? No amount of fancy cooking techniques will make up for an under-seasoned dish. So start with salt. I think it needs a little bit more. And goes a nice pinch of salt. To help cut through the coconut, I'm gonna just squeeze in a little bit of lemon. It's just gonna add a little bit of vibrancy. If you don't have lemon, lime will do well. And if you don't have that, you can put in half a teaspoon of vinegar of choice. I'm squeezing it through my hands just to catch any pips. Boom. Et voila, turn it off the heat. Et voila. Simple, delicious kale, tofu, and chickpea curry. You could replace with butter beans, you could replace with spinach, you could replace with tempeh if you want to have many different variations, and you could increase the chili if you like it spicy. Oh, it's beautiful. Right. Wonderful, tasty, nutritious, fabulous dinner that took 5 minutes to make. Wishing you all the best on your Veganuary challenge if you're starting. If you're coming to this at a different time, hope you enjoy the recipe. If you do want to learn to cook more in a more calmer, more professional environment, we've got our Ultimate Vegan Cooking course and our Ultimate Vegan Baking course. They're all on our app. They do wonderful and they really help support you. Anyway, thank you for watching this. Thank you for being part of this channel. We love it, and please subscribe if you can. Lots of love and wishing you a great day. Bye.